Walmart offers carts for shoppers with disabilities. A lawsuit is filed against music rapper Rick Ross for inaccessibility at his car show, and actors call on Hollywood to greenlight disability. This and much more on this episode of the Disability News Report.
This is the Disability News Report with host Arthur Aston.
Caroline's carts began being distributed to Walmarts across the country in May of this year. They will be available in all Walmarts beginning January 2025, with at least 2 Caroline's carts at each location. The carts are similar to regular shopping carts, but they include a large seat with a 5-point harness that can accommodate people weighing between 35 and 250 pounds. Currently, only 20% of Walmart's 4,600 locations have Caroline's carts. This is an important move by Walmart, as these carts are very beneficial to parents and caregivers who can now push their disabled loved one while shopping all at the same time. This is a great way to be inclusive and accessible for your disabled shoppers. Thank you for making this change, and we hope that other stores will see this example and follow along. On the last episode of the Disability News Report, we shared a story about a podcast episode where a caller asked, when is it appropriate for him to disclose his disability when on dating apps? Our next story comes from Today.com with the title of, We Just Want to Be Married. Some disabled people can't get married and keep their benefits. More than 9 million Americans receive some type of disability benefit. The Adult Disabled Children, DAC, Social Security Disability Insurance, SSDI, and Supplemental Security Income are 3 federally funded programs that have penalties for disabled beneficiaries who get married. Each of these programs is for specific individuals. Let me provide a brief overview of each of these programs. The DAC program is for individuals who have been diagnosed with a disability before the age of 22. These Social Security benefits are paid based on the work record of the parent of the disabled adult child. SSDI is linked to a person's employment history, meaning that if they work for a certain number of years and then become disabled, they qualify for SSDI. People who receive SSI have limited or no work history and restricted income and assets. These programs have strict rules when it comes to a beneficiary who decides to marry. Depending on the program and who you decide to marry, this can have an impact on the amount of benefits you receive. If you receive DAC benefits, you can marry a person who also receives DAC or SSI benefits because of disability or retirement, and neither of you will have to worry about losing a portion or the total amount of your benefits. When considering marriage when receiving SSI benefits, there is another factor that those beneficiaries have to be concerned about, and that is asset limits. Anyone who receives SSI benefits cannot have more than $2,000 in their bank account, and couples cannot have more than $3,000 in their bank account. This asset limit has not been updated since 1984. The income of a partner who does not receive SSI is considered as income for the spouse who does receive SSI benefits. Marrying can also potentially impact one's eligibility for Medicaid. This topic is often discussed within the disability community and should continue to be discussed until changes are made. Here are some things to consider as to why these rules for these federally funded programs are outdated. The asset limits are very much outdated. The median asking rent in the United States in April of 2024 was $1,723 for a 1-bedroom apartment and $1,916 for a 2-bedroom apartment. People with disabilities should not be penalized or lose all of their benefits because they want to marry someone who is not disabled. There is a such thing as interabled couples, where one person in the relationship has a disability and the other person does not. This way of thinking is very outdated and needs to be reevaluated, and changes need to be made to these rules. There is a bit of good news to share on this topic. Senator Sherrod Brown, Bill Cassidy, and James Lankford sponsored the legislation called the SSI Savings Penalty Elimination Act. This bill would update SSI asset limits to $10,000 for each individual and $20,000 for a couple. We will keep an eye on this story and provide any updates on a future episode of the Disability News Report. Our next story comes out of Georgia, where rapper Rick Ross is facing a lawsuit. A lawsuit was recently filed against rapper Rick Ross and his company Rick Ross Car Show Incorporated, citing that they violated the Americans with Disabilities Act. Darius Straughter, a wheelchair user, filed this lawsuit earlier this month after he was denied access to Rick Ross's car and bike show that was held at Ross's estate in June of this year. When Darius spoke with event organizers weeks before the event, he was assured that a wheelchair-accessible shuttle would be available in the parking area to take him to the event space. Upon arriving to the event, an accessible shuttle was not available, and Darius waited for hours before he left the parking area, never attending the event. He is seeking over $50,000 in damages. Mr. Straughter's lawyers admit that although the event was held on Rick Ross's private property, the event was open to the public, and therefore they should have abided by the Americans with Disabilities Act. We will follow up on this story and provide any updates in future episodes of the Disability News Report. Our next story comes straight from Paris at the recent Olympic Games. Tara Woodhall and Hunter Woodhall were recently all over everyone's television screens and social media feeds during the Olympic Games in Paris. Tara won gold for Team USA. A popular video showing Tara jumping into the arms of her husband Hunter was shown all over the evening and morning news shows in the following days. What you could not see as Tara jumped into Hunter's arms as he stood in the stands is that Hunter and Tara, who were married in the fall of 2022, are an interabled couple. Hunter is an amputee, and he is also a Paralympic sprinter. The couple met at a track meet in 2017. Tara qualified for the Olympics, and Hunter qualified for the Paralympics in Tokyo back in 2021. We are so proud to highlight these athletes from Team USA and send our congratulations to Tara for winning the gold medal. We are looking forward to watching Hunter compete later this month in the Paralympics. Be sure to keep an eye on your local stations for when and where you can watch the Paralympic Games. Our last story is actors call on Hollywood to greenlight disability. Actors Rami Youssef, Sihan Heder, Marlee Matlin, and others call on Hollywood to greenlight disability. Rami Youssef hired an actor by the name of Steve Way, who has muscular dystrophy, to star in his show Rami, which he created, that is streaming on the Hulu platform. Sihan Hunter is director of the Academy Award-winning film Coda, which stands for Child of Deaf Adult, and Marlee Matlin is the first deaf actress to win an Academy Award for Best Actress for the film Children of a Lesser God in 1986. These actors, filmmakers, writers, showrunners, and others joined along with the foundation named Inevitable Foundation. They joined together to send an open letter to ask Hollywood and the Hollywood industry filmmakers to consider financing and marketing more projects that include accurate representations of people with disabilities. The Inevitable Foundation is a nonprofit organization with the following mission: to invest in disabled writers and filmmakers so they can achieve artistic and financial freedom, and to use film and television to destigmatize disability and mental health globally. This open letter also asked for opportunities to research and collect data about content that features disabled actors and to make sure that entertainment venues are accessible for all. It is so refreshing to see that those with and without disabilities and those who are allies of the disability community are joining forces in Hollywood to make disability a priority, to showcase and highlight those stories about those in the disability community This is such a great story to share, and we look forward to seeing the response from that open letter and to see these changes being made in Hollywood. We thank you for watching this episode of the Disability News Report.